Hello guys, in this video I'll be showing you how to use QML register singleton type. So we have already talked about register type, right? And we have implemented that, and we will simply be continuing with the code. So what is a singleton file, right? Let's first define that. Singleton means only one object. So anything which is global can be considered a singleton. For example, let's say you have a settings, right? You have settings application or anything, right? In any desktop application or any browser or anything, right? There is something called settings, and you do not want this to be duplicated, right? Because that will be a waste of memory and time because there is only one global settings. Similarly, you might have a class which you are using to store constants. For example, the value of pi or the value of g, gravitational constant, or any other constant, right? For example, let's say number of days in a year, or some constant, right? So you want only one file to hold this, and there is no meaning in creating multiple objects of that file. So for that, we use singleton file. So anyway, let's start, and I'm going to the backend helper or backend class, right? If you recall, this is how we registered our QML type, and we can create multiple objects. So for example, I can do something like that. I can do something like this. My backend ID, my backend 2, and I'll call this one here. And this is perfectly fine. I can create any number of instances of my backend class. Let's run the application once. And as you can see, we are displaying hello world here. So singleton will not allow us to create objects here, right? So how can we achieve that? Let's see. First of all, let's revert this change. And yeah, so for that, you have to replace this with QML register singleton type. And as you can see, we have got a suggestion here. Now there is a warning because singleton requires a fourth parameter where you pass the object. You create a single object and you pass the object. So for passing the object, we have to create a function because that is how it is defined in their rule, right? So we have to pass a function which will take two parameters. So I'll just copy these parameters and create a function, right, in the backend class header file. So I'll say static, sorry, void, not void. It will return a Q object pointer, and the name will be provider, something provider, right? Let's say register or singleton provider. Let's say it's singleton provider. What does that mean? It will provide the object which we will be using globally. This this method will provide the object, and there will be only a single object because it is singleton. I hope you are getting my point. So let's provide the object here. First of all, I'll add this here. So the warning gets removed, and here we'll provide the object. Now let's create a static object globally. So I'll say static backend class pointer object and call it m object because it's a member variable, which means this is a variable in the class. I hope you know what a member variable is, and by default it's null, right? Now, if member object is null, create an object, new backend class. Otherwise, just simply return m object. Don't get confused like what happened here, right? If you did not create any single object, let's go to the whiteboard and see. First, let's start the application. Is there any object? No, right? So m underscore object is null. Now we enter the function, right? We enter this method. If this is null, create an object. So now this is not null. This is pointing to some location. Now the next time when you come to the method, this check will fail and we will simply return the previous object which we had created, right? So that's it. Now, because we have created a singleton object, this will not be allowed. We will not be able to create an object in the QML file. If we run the application now, we will get a warning. Element is not creatable, so we cannot do this. So then, how can we access the methods? It's very simple. Just use the class name, my backend. This name is provided here. If you change this to, let's say, backend class or something, right? We just directly access that, right? Just like we access static methods or static variables. I hope you know what that is. Let me show you. Let's say there is a class called A. My bad. There is a class A, and it has a method called void fun, and it has a method called static void fun2, right? So anywhere else in any different method, right? You can call A fun directly, but you have to create an object and then called obj.fun2. Sorry, that was my bad. It was the exact opposite. For static methods, you can directly call using the class identifier. But for any local variables, you have to create an object and then directly call, right? So this is basically the same. You are directly accessing the method with the class identifier. And let's run the application once. My bad. Yeah, and that's it. So this is everything about QML singleton register type. It's used for creating a single object like settings or global theme or global constant or something like that, right? So anyway, thank you for watching.